Are you looking for some inspiration in life, some motivation to do better? While there are plenty of books which talk about self improvement, motivation, and inspiration to achieve something in life, I believe nothing works better than reading the life stories of ordinary individuals who, through their hard work and determination, became successful. With Olympics being the flair of the season, today we'll discover the life stories of two famous sportspersons of India who achieved success despite all odds. Let's discover the life of these two sportspersons through their autobiographies. Keep watching. Hello everyone, welcome once again to Books Wale Bhaiya. I hope you all are doing fine. Today we'll talk about the lives of two prominent sportspersons of India. The first book I'll talk about is The Race of My Life, authored by Milkha Singh ji along with his daughter Sonia. Milkha Singh ji unfortunately is not today with us. He passed away in the month of June due to COVID complications, but there is no doubt that his legacy will live on forever. So the book starts with a very interesting prologue in which Milkha Singh ji writes that running as a passion has determined his entire life. He was running while going to school. He ran for his life when at the time of India's partition, he saw almost his entire family getting massacred in front of his eyes. It was at this moment that his father asked him to run. He said, "Bhag Milkha Bhag," which eventually became the title of the movie based on his life. He ran again throughout his life to bring glory to India, to win several medals and awards. And there was a time when he, as he mentions in the book, he was running even in his dreams. So the book talks about, traces us back to his life in Pakistan where he was born, his school life and his youth wherein he saw the tragedy of his family getting massacred. Only he, one of his sisters and one of his brothers were alive. Well, he came to India, he settled in Delhi, and after doing some odd jobs and even getting involved in petty crimes here and there, he eventually got a job with the Indian Army. And it was his regiment of a soldier in army which he says actually helped him become an athlete, a runner in his life. He was given some extra privileges as he was doing well in sports, in running, and thus his journey as a runner started. And while he started winning several tournaments of both national and international importance, but the most defining moment in his career came in Australian Olympics in 1956. Well, interestingly, he did not win anything. And that is what devastated him as a person. And as he mentions that he realized that all his success, his pride was based on some false notions about himself. He realized that to win in a game like Olympics, he needs to do a lot more. And from there he said, running in 1956, running became his passion, his religion, his God, his beloved. He says that for almost 2 years in 1956 and 57, he used to run for 5 hours a day. I repeat, he used to run 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. He avoided all distractions, temptations, and he explicitly says that it was those 2 years which molded him into an athlete that he became. After that, he went to other Olympics. Unfortunately, he did not win the gold at the Rome Olympics in 1962, but he stood fourth in that race. But there's no doubt that they won several other tournaments of importance. And most importantly, in 1960s, he defeated Abdul Khalik in Pakistan at the Asian Games, after which he became to be known as the Flying Sikh. His journey is full of inspiration. He faced several challenges in his life, losing his family, not being from a privileged background, with small things were like a luxury for him, yet he defeated all odds and became undoubtedly a world-class athlete. There are some interesting anecdotes also in the book, so one of them I would like to quote, and he said when he won one of the national games in the 400-meter race, he himself was so surprised by his success that he asked the organizing committee to measure the length of the track again to check whether he actually ran that much or not. Other than his personal life, after his success in various games, he was asked to head the sports department in Punjab, which he eventually accepted in order to produce better athletes. He has also talked about his personal life, how he met his wife, how he raised his children, how they He realized that his son Milkha Singh is into golf and he is today a successful golfer. He has talked about one very important thing, which is Indians' performance in major sporting events. As someone who was at helm of affairs, who headed a sports department, he wrote about a lack of facilities and, most importantly, lack of focus on sports. He says that when India has a lot of potential, it needs to be tapped, and he has explicitly mentioned that other than Pulela Gopichand, at least he in his lifetime has not seen any other coach of international standards. And it was his dream to win the Olympic gold, which unfortunately could not be realized. Yet he wanted someone else to win a gold at the Olympics. Unfortunately, that did not happen in his lifetime, but I believe the kind of legacy which Milkha Singh ji left, someday there will be people who will take inspiration and will win a gold for India. Written in a very simple, easy to understand language, I believe this book will definitely serve as an inspiration whether you want to achieve something in sports or maybe in some other discipline. If the life story, the success story of Milkha Singh ji, who faced so many troubles in life, does not inspire you to do better in life, I believe nothing else will. Read this book. I would say, whether or not you're looking for inspiration, it's indeed a very well written book. The other book I'm going to talk about today is Unbreakable by Mary Kom. It's her autobiography. While today everyone knows Mary Kom, who she is, but there was a time when she was a nobody. She was born in Manipur, and in her community it was not common for girls to move into sports. She was not from a privileged background. She was not someone who was born with a silver spoon. So she faced hardships in terms of money. She faced hardships in terms of being a woman and yet getting into sports. There was a time when there was a lot of insurgencies in Manipur. So nothing came easy for her. What was there was her determination to succeed. As she realized her potential in sports, she worked very hard to achieve what she has. She is one of those Indian sports athletes who have won an Olympic medal. She won a bronze in 2012 Olympics. But as you read her life stories, you will realize that how difficult it was to reach that level. When she realized she was good in sports, while she had the talent, the determination, but unfortunately that's the only thing she had. She had absolutely no money, and as she mentions, even 100 rupee was a big thing for her. And mind you, I'm not talking about the era of the 1950s or 60s, I'm talking about the 1990s or some year around 2000. Even 100 rupee was a big thing. At times she had to miss the training because she did not have the bus fare. And when she went into different tournaments across countries, many a times the athletes had to arrange certain things for themselves, for again which she had no money, and she had to borrow money to manage that. It was slowly that she started winning tournaments, and one of the interesting things she mentions that somewhere in 2000 she won a silver medal at one of the championships, but unfortunately the Indian media, obsessed with cricket, did not find it important to highlight her sporting achievement. It was only after a certain time, when she won several medals, several awards, she came to be recognized. And it was in 2012 at the at the London Olympics, wherein winning the bronze medal was the highlight of her career. Not only did she face these struggles, but even after eventually settling down as a boxer, she had to face the challenge of managing a family life as well as a professional life. She's the mother of 3 kids, for those who don't know. And as a mother, it was extremely difficult for her to leave her little kids at home and participate in some championship or the other. Well, of course, as she mentioned, she got a great support from her husband, but it's definitely a very difficult task for a mother. And as she mentions that it was difficult to explain to kids why their mother was not with them. Someone who was not born with luxury, someone for whom even a 50 or 100 rupee was a big thing, what she has achieved despite all odds is certainly very, very inspiring and encouraging. I believe everyone should read this book to feel inspired and to do better in life. If someone like Mary Kom, success journey cannot inspire you, just like Milkha Singh ji's, I believe, as I said earlier, nothing else will inspire you. Once again, written in a very simple and easy to understand language, full of facts, full of information about Mary Kom's life. I believe for those looking for inspiration or even not looking for inspiration must read this great story, this book. You should read both these books for the sheer honesty of these players. It is very easy to or fancy to talk about your achievements, which medal you won, which recognition you got, which reward you won, but I believe it's not easy to talk about your failures to the world. It's not easy to talk about that you did not have any money. It's not at all easy to talk about your failures. And for example, Milkha Singh ji mentioned in the book that he lost the Olympic medal because of an error of judgment, that he ran very fast initially and then he slowed down, but by that time his competitors got the edge that they wanted. Read these books for the sheer honesty of the authors who have highlighted their achievements as well as their weaknesses quite well. For example, Mary Kom said that speaking in public is not her forte. She can utilize her energies, her skill sets in the boxing ring and not at some public meeting or press conference. And I believe these are the hallmarks of great personalities, great sports persons, that they, while they are aware of their strengths, they are aware of their weaknesses also. Their lives are a perfect example that you need immense focus to achieve something meaningful in life. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you think I did a good job, please click like and subscribe to my channel for more updates.